Wildcats, I'm Allison Bellucci.
And I'm Kelsea Campbell. Welcome to the TNH Weekly Report. With intentions to bring awareness towards suicide prevention and mental health resources on campus, Fresh Check Day was hosted by UNH in the Granite Stateroom this past Thursday, October 29th. This fair-like event was put on and founded by the Jordan Porco Foundation in collaboration with the university. A wide range of organizations were represented at the event, along with over 100 volunteers who helped to manage the many activities. Some of those activities were stress ball making, coloring, and appearances of multiple therapeutic dogs. JPF has held Fresh Check Day at 31 colleges, most of them primarily located in the Northeast. The event comes on the heels of UNH receiving the Garrett Lee Smith Campus Suicide Prevention Grant, which provides approximately $100,000 a year for 3 years to the university.
Friends of Jaclyn Foundation hosted an all-you-can-eat pancake fundraiser in the Granite Stateroom on November 1st. Tickets were $7 and all proceeds went to the organization. This is a program that pairs sports teams with a pediatric brain tumor patient. Both the UNH men's hockey and football team have adopted a child through Friends of Jaclyn.
Friday, October 30th, UNH hosted its first Student Org Expo. Here, student orgs had their own tables and employees walked around to create partnerships. There was a mandatory training session for the student orgs that consisted of an hour-long presentation that instructed students on how to dress, what to say, and what to expect. They learned important tips such as sitting in front of the table rather than behind it and to engage all employees in order to not miss out on any opportunities.
Democratic presidential candidate Martin O'Malley stopped by the Stratford Room in the MUB on Tuesday, November 3rd. The former mayor of Baltimore and governor of Maryland spoke to a crowd of over 60 students and community members about economic issues facing the country. Presidential candidate and Kentucky Senator Rand Paul spoke to a crowd of about 200 in the Stratford Room on Monday, November 2nd. Paul touched upon issues such as punishment for the possession and sale of marijuana, the government's collection of phone records and credit card statements, as well as foreign affairs, calling the first war in Iraq a mistake.
UNH administration received almost $400,000 in bonuses in 2015. President Mark Huddleston, who receives an annual base pay of $395,000, will receive a total of about $503,000 with his now included bonus of about $108,000. Vice President Deborah Dutton Cox receives a salary of $310,000 with a now added bonus of $20,000, making her total salary $330,000 a year. Alongside these top paid employees is football coach Sean McDonnell, who has a salary of $265,000. with the now added bonus of $65,000, making his total salary $330,000. Merit increases are reserved for non-union employees when financial circumstances allow. Now over to Elizabeth Clemente and Ben Nawn for an update on UNH sports.
I'm Ben Nawn alongside Elizabeth Clemente. This is your TNH Weekly Wildcat Sports Update. Probably the biggest news with a lot of teams moving into playoffs, Elizabeth, is the UNH women's cross-country team getting their third straight America East Conference championship.
Definitely big news. The UNH women's cross-country team won their third consecutive American East Conference championship on Saturday, October 31st. They scored 45 points, led by Laura Rose Donegan, finishing second overall. Donegan finished the 5K with a time of 18 minutes 9 seconds for her best time to date. And over at women's soccer, they lost to the University of Maine in the first round of the American East Conference Championship on Thursday, October 29th. The Wildcats lost to the Black Bears 3-2 in penalty kicks. It was a tough end to their season for sure.
It was definitely a tough end to the end of their season. You know, it's not what they expected, especially being the defending America East champions. But a lot of good signs. Brooke Murphy, again, coming back for his second year, produced a lot of goals. They have the talent. Hopefully they can put something together next year. But overall, it was just a tough way to end their season.
Definitely. The women's swimming and diving team won over Central Connecticut on Saturday, October 31st, 158 to 142. The Wildcats will be at the University of Rhode Island on Saturday, November 7th, and we'll be giving you the results of that matchup on next week's show. The women's volleyball team lost to Albany in straight sets 3-0 on Sunday, November 1st. This was the Wildcats' first loss in America East this season, breaking their 10-match win streak. The Wildcats also took on the Riverhawks of UMass Lowell on Friday, November 6th. We'll be giving you the results of that match on next week's show.
Yeah, tough loss for the Wildcats in volleyball. That was their first loss after, winning the first 10 so far in this season, especially in America East. They were undefeated. Moving forward with 3 games left, they do have the Riverhawks that will give the result of that. But after that, a couple more matches. They're still the powerhouse of that tournament, though. Looking towards the men's sports, a lot was going on with them as well as they gear up for the playoffs. We'll start off with men's hockey, though. After a disappointing 5-goal lead that they led up against the UMass Minutemen. They tied 6-6 in that one. But the next night, they took on the number 18th ranked Union Dutchman, and they were able to win that one 5-2. An impressive start for them from start to finish. And then next week, they took on Merrimack, another ranked team undefeated in Hockey East. They beat them behind Andrew Podorowski's 2 goals. So the men's hockey team's starting to really find them form ever since they switched over to Adam Clark, which is big for them. On the other side of the field, the football team, they've been struggling so far this season, but a big win versus Rhode Island last time out. That was impressive, a 2017 win. It was not easy at first. The first half, the Rhode Island Rams were up 17-0. It seemed like the Wildcats were going to lose their first game from the dungeon this season. But Sean Goldrich, and led by Dalton Crossan, who's had a wonderful year, was able to complete the comeback, and the Wildcats took care of business in that one. They also took on the Richmond Spiders from the dungeon this past Saturday. I'll give you the result of that one in next week's show. Finally, the men's soccer team, as they gear up for playoffs, a huge win against Hartford in overtime. Chris Arling, the freshman, was able to produce the game-winning goal in overtime to help them get their 10th win of their season. First-year coach Mark Hubbard's got to be happy with how this team was able to get 10 wins this season. But the next night out, they took on Vermont, the last game of the season, and lost 3-1. That pushes them back in the standings moving forward to the playoffs, which now they got the 6th seed. They could have maybe had the 1st seed with a little bit of help. They take on UMBC on Saturday. We'll give you the result of that one. That's the first round of the playoffs. And that's it for sports. My name is Ben Nawn alongside Elizabeth Clemente, and back to Allison Bellucci and Kelsea Campbell.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's report brought to you by the New Hampshire, your school newspaper. I'm Allison Bellucci.
And I'm Kelsea Campbell. Have a great week, Wildcats.